Welcome to the 48th Annual Chevron Texaco Conservation Awards. At Chevron Texaco, we know that success demands the highest standards of responsible corporate citizenship in our operations worldwide. Our approach to this responsibility is rooted in our core values, known as the Chevron Texaco Way: to conduct business in a socially responsible and ethical manner, support universal human rights, learn from and respect cultures, protect the environment and the communities where we work. Each year, we pause to recognize and honor individuals and organizations whose work embodies these values. All have distinguished themselves by proving that the battle to preserve and enhance our natural environment can and must be won. We begin tonight's award presentations in the rainforests of Papua New Guinea, where Dr. Lisa Daybeck reaches out to villagers to ensure the survival of the endangered Matschie's tree kangaroo.
4 days after I finished my graduate degree, I got on a plane, first to Australia, where I gave a paper at a conference, and then I flew to Papua New Guinea by myself. I think I was most taken by the people, because in the villages, people were really welcoming, and knowing that the tree kangaroos lived in those forests was really exciting to me.
Saving habitat to save a species is Dr. Daybeck's goal. These efforts are part of her successful tree kangaroo conservation program, based at Roger Williams Park Zoo in Rhode Island. The program brings different cultures together to protect the environment and share in the wonder of wildlife.
The Tree Kangaroo Conservation Program believes that education is key to conservation. And we actually have two areas. We have education focusing on children, and then we have training, which is focused on adults. I really wanted to involve the children of Rhode Island into this whole project and make it a cross-cultural program. So one of the things that we've done is get the kids to learn about one aspect of their culture, which is called Sing Sing, which is a celebration or a party, basically. They actually make their own costumes and they get all dressed up. The overall goal of the Tree Kangaroo Conservation Program is to help the local landowners to create a wildlife management area. And right now we have 50,000 acres that has been set aside for conservation. And our ultimate goal with the landowners is to create a wildlife management area of 150,000 acres. And that will go from sea level all the way up to 4,000-meter mountains.
The unique work that Lisa does in Papua New Guinea is so special because she has approached it from the point of view of the people of New Guinea. She has won them over with her caring for the habitat and the animals, and they have become equally as committed as she has to saving the tree kangaroo and thus saving a lot of the habitat for the other species.
We want to empower as much as possible the local villagers to carry on the work that we've started.
Well, Dr. Daybeck is very personally inspirational, I think, to people. So they see someone who has taken an interest or an idea and then developed it into something that really has made a huge difference.
She brings just tremendous passion to the work. And I think it's difficult for people that interact with Lisa not to get caught up in that.
We're really working towards a sustainable forest, and that's the real mission.
Anita Gorman brings nature to the city. As the first woman appointed to the Missouri Conservation Commission, and only the third person in its 65-year history to serve 2 terms as a commissioner, Anita has not only spearheaded major efforts to renew natural resources, but has been the driving force to educate both youngsters and adults about the value of conservation.
One of the things that we need to do is to make very sure that all Missourians have the opportunity to enjoy the natural resources that we have.
Anita led successful efforts to transform flood-ravaged farmlands into a permanent nature reserve. and to purchase 4,468 acres of scenic land where the Missouri and Mississippi rivers flow together. Many other projects have focused on her hometown of Kansas City.
It didn't take very long to realize that she really had the ability and the talent to get other people involved, and that's extremely important. And she carried through and got the job done.
She's the best fundraiser in the city, period. Bar none, she raises funds for everybody and everything but herself. She's strictly a city person, a community leader, and certainly a person that will account for every dime that she takes in.
Anita's crowning achievement is the Discovery Center in the heart of Kansas City. Open last spring, the center is considered a model for conservation education, especially for children. With wetlands, prairie grass meadows, bird and butterfly gardens, forests, and hiking trails, the interactive center is a learning laboratory for urban residents to study conservation, wildlife, and the environment.
Initially, when we began planning this Discovery Center, I had assumed that we would be really targeting young people. That goal hasn't changed, but we've expanded it because we've realized that young adults, middle-aged adults, and even elderly people want to learn more about the out-of-doors. Over 70% of our people in Missouri live in urban areas. And if we want to tell our story and to make people realize the importance of conservation, then we've got to go where they are and make it easy for them to get to. And when people are surrounded by things that are lovely, it lifts their spirits, regardless of the economic strata that they're in.
I think the words I would use to describe Anita would be great vision, able to see the whole picture of what she's doing, but great vision and carry through with great integrity in all that she does, and undoubted commitment to her projects to see that they follow through.
Thousands of people have benefited from what Anita has done and been involved in, and we're all appreciative.
Civic pride blooms in Houston's neighborhoods. Thanks to the nonprofit Keep Houston Beautiful, the community never rests in its efforts to be one of the cleanest, most beautiful metropolitan cities in America. Keep Houston Beautiful programs inspire, educate, and empower residents to act.
Well, Keep Houston Beautiful started in 1976 as a freeway maintenance program. And at that time, we were known as the Houston Anti-Litter Team. Today, we're the strongest grassroots environmental network in the city.
People want to come to a city to invest or create a business or expand the business. They look at the quality of life. So what Keep Houston Beautiful has done is to improve the quality of life by cleaning up the neighborhoods throughout the city.
We have delittered tons of trash, mowed many lots, painted a number of senior citizen homes. So you can see now in your tour through Houston, through the Fifth Ward community, it has made a tremendous difference.
Thousands participate in Keep Houston Beautiful programs, such as Adopt a Block, the Great American Cleanup, and the Youth Environmental Conference. An acclaimed KHB program called Keep 5 Alive is credited with revitalizing the Fifth Ward, one of the city's oldest and most neglected areas. This success resulted in the Clean Neighborhoods program, now a national model for preventing urban litter, reducing crime, and rejuvenating neighborhoods.
Okay, I was approached by Keep Houston Beautiful to put a mural here as a graffiti abatement program. Keep Houston Beautiful supplied all the equipment and materials to paint with.
So we wanted to incorporate the themes of Texas, of Houston, of our surroundings, but from our perspective, which is East End Houston, which is largely Mexican-American. So you see all the themes of Mexican-American perspectives on Texas and Houston themes in the mural.
Instead of continuously covering over a wall with recycled paint, we put up a beautiful design. So it adds to the beauty of the neighborhood, and it brings pride, too, to the communities.
Through these and many other projects, the Clean Neighborhoods program is currently restoring beauty, pride, and safety in 14 city neighborhoods.
11 years I've been with Keep 5 Alive. Just go there and try to be at the meeting, and if anything I can do, I'll tell them to let me know, and I'll do what I can, you know, because they are a wonderful organization.
Keep Houston Beautiful has been a super partner, always available to us, and of course it's always promoting the clean image and clean streets. We believe it attracts a lot of people into our neighborhood and has made a huge difference.
The point of all of this is to create an activity that at the end of the day, the community can see a visible change in their neighborhood.
Through the efforts of Keep Houston Beautiful, we have actually improved the quality of life in our city.
We'd like Houston to become known as the cleanest large city in America. And we're going to do that by empowering people to take responsibility for their own environment.
For over 30 years, our next honoree, Joan Lynn Beacons, has been an active volunteer to broaden environmental education programs nationwide. Joan's journey began with a series of hikes in the hills north of San Francisco.
How often do we meet someone who changes your life forever? I did 35 years ago. Her name was Elizabeth Terwilliger. She really opened my eyes to nature and taught us to use our senses to taste, to smell, to listen carefully. And it was a wonderful experience.
Joan obtained funding and produced the first of an extended series of films in which Mrs. T introduces young audiences to the wonders of nature.
I'm distributing those to schools, public libraries, school libraries, children's museums, and also now universities, free of charge throughout the country. To date, 60 million children have seen the films in their classrooms and have vicariously tripped with Elizabeth Terwilliger.
Joan also founded the Terwilliger Nature Guides, a group of volunteers who lead young students on nature trips.
And of course, they always use the Terwilliger style of teaching children about the out of doors and using their senses and hands-on teaching.
Another of Joan's many projects was establishing a fleet of nature vans to bring nature-themed educational experiences to local schools.
And that grew to a fleet of 4 vans on the road that were going all over the Bay Area and quite far north, actually. With that program, we reached about 65,000 children each year in their classrooms. Mrs. T was very right in focusing on younger children. If you get them when they're young, this awareness, this love of nature, they will enjoy this the rest of their lives and carry the values forth with them.
When we do this, the children grow up, and the children go out into different parts of the environment and into businesses. And they're the ones as adults that are going to protect our environment and conserve our energy and keep this planet going.
Joni has always believed in the environment. She's always believed in nature education. She's always believed that if children learn about nature, they're going to be much better citizens when they become adults.
She gets things done. She organizes. She has a great sense of priorities and a great sense of inspiration and enthusiasm.
Mrs. T always said, "Stay at home today and you'll never remember this day, but come with me and you'll always remember this day."
Changing the world is a lofty goal, but that's exactly what our next honorees have in mind. 5 years ago, with no broadcast experience, Carrie Crane and Chandler Van Vuris launched a radio show. Their program, Green Wave Radio, is built around the principle that the environment and the economy can benefit by working hand in hand.
We try to hit 3 points to make the show really work, and that is we try to make sure that we get the information out to them, put it in a relevant context, and entertain them why we're doing it.
That 70% of the food in your supermarket right now has genetically modified organisms.
So what does that mean when you say genetically modified food? What's that?
Okay, put it this way. Your tomato has a salmon gene in it.
I didn't know that tomatoes could swim.
Today, the show is broadcast on over 70 radio stations nationwide. Interviews are played on MSNBC.com, and a daily 2-minute segment airs on 120 stations and XM satellite radio. Each week, more than 500,000 people hear stories of positive change in the conservation arena, led by entrepreneurs, businesses, and government.
What we're trying to do is reach out to the average American and present them with what are environmental issues.
Carrie and Chandler can best be described through sheer energy and vision. And one of the things they do best is provide hope. And when their program, which outreaches to so many people, brings people together with hopeful solutions for environmental issues.
When you look at a problem, you can say, oh my God, doom and gloom. Or you can sit there and say, you know what, this is an opportunity for a solution.
You get inspired by the emails that we get from across the world because our web page reaches out to the international community.
They're working this problem. I mean, they have a real sense of mission when it comes to the work that they're trying to do, and that is to bring those market-based solutions to environmental matters.
When we get the emails and we get the phone calls and we've challenged them, then we know that we've got them thinking. And that's half the battle. If you got them thinking, then they're going to do something.
There's an endless supply of innovation out there. And to have a forum like this, once again, emphasizes the diversity of solutions that are available to all of us.
They're always looking at the cutting edge of technology. This is the first radio program in the country to be powered solely by solar power and hydrogen batteries. It's just phenomenal. And it's an example of that they don't just preach, they practice.
You're listening to this show, Green Wave Radio, and it's powered by the sun and it's powered by hydrogen. And just by listening, you're helping contribute to the next wave of environmentalism, or as we like to say, the next industrial revolution.
These guys, they want to be able to make a difference, and through Green Wave Radio, believe that they can get the message out in a very effective way.
Essentially, what we try to capitalize on our show is that a problem is nothing more than the opportunity for a solution for real change.
It'll take decades to happen. But every trip starts with the first step. And it's our job to point it out, and it's our job to keep that snowball rolling down the hill so that it continues to get bigger.
Our final honorees this evening are Sylvia McLaughlin and the late Dwight Steele. For over 50 years, individually and together, they volunteered their talents in a variety of heroic conservation efforts. In response to efforts to fill major portions of the San Francisco Bay, Sylvia co-founded Save the Bay in 1961. Dwight served on its first board of directors.
I thought San Francisco Bay was one of the most beautiful natural areas I had ever seen, and the thought of its being filled was just untenable. The conservationists came to a meeting that we had, and they said, yes, we agree, the bay should be saved, but we're all too busy doing our own things. And so I think it was David Brower that said there should be another organization and somebody should start. Well, we were the somebodies. So we sat down and started Save the Bay. Dwight Steele, in the early days, primarily working with the Sierra Club, and then he became a member also of the Save the Bay Board of Directors. He was always very much of a gentleman. He was always prepared. He was helpful, always supportive, just a wonderful, wonderful person and friend.
Together, Dwight and Sylvia led countless battles to protect the bay from being filled and to preserve its wetlands, wildlife, and water quality.
The result, if they hadn't done that, would have been essentially a little canal connecting the Golden Gate to San Jose instead of a beautiful bay.
So that was a surprise to me, and I think a surprise to everybody, that the developers could be beaten at their own game. But of course, that was only the beginning of the attempt to save the bay. It still goes on.
Dwight and Sylvia also helped create the first coastal protection agency in the United States, the San Francisco Bay Conservation and Development Commission. But they didn't stop there.
Then we formally organized Citizens for the East Shore State Park, known as CESP. I believe it was in 1984.
For 3 decades, as part of CESP, They worked to create what some considered the most complex park agreement in the history of the state. Their perseverance paid off. Today, the East Shore State Park encompasses 8.5 miles of shoreline along the San Francisco Bay, covering 260 acres that touch 5 cities.
What impressed me the most about Sylvia when I first met her was her tenacity and persistence in the drive for her to realize the dream of creating the East Shore State Park.
With Dwight, it was that he has a way of speaking the hard truths. He was superb in conceptualizing and in strategizing, and Sylvia in getting it done and making it happen. And together, that's just an unbeatable combination.
So now we're in the planning phase, and that's really very exciting to have come all this way and having defeated so many really horrendous plans for development. When I look out over the bay, I'm just terribly grateful that it's still there. I really am.
Well, I live in Berkeley, and I come down here to this place we're talking right now with my 6-year-old son, and we sit and talk on the rocks here, and we look out at the bay, and he and I talk about the politics of the bay, and I say, well, this wasn't always going to be here. There were people who helped save it.
And then when I go to the shoreline, boy, I just know it's going to be a beautiful park someday.
Those honored here tonight are more than determined environmental advocates. They educate about the importance of conservation. They inspire us to devote serious time and attention to the natural resources we all share. They simply make our world a better place to live. And all of them reflect the values that Chevron Texaco deeply cares about. We are proud to honor this year's Unsung Heroes of the Environment, the 2002 Chevron Texaco Conservation Award winners.